Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the M5 iPad Pro and compare it against the M3 iPad Air and see which particular device is the better one for you. Now, in almost every single way I can imagine, it probably doesn't make too much sense to think that the M3 iPad Air is a better iPad. In almost every single way I can imagine, the M5 iPad Air is going to be the M5 iPad Pro is going to be a significantly better type of iPad than the M3 iPad Air. But I will still say there's a lot of capability between both, and the M3 iPad Air is substantially cheaper. So that is always one of those things to keep in mind there as well. But if you do want to go through and pick up either one of these particular iPads, links will be down in the description below. You can get that from there, and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular iPads. The M3 iPad Air came out a little bit of time ago. It's not really like, a super crazy iPad, but it still is like a really nice iPad when it comes down to it. This device is basically going to be able to give you the standard type of 11-inch display. So this is still a really nice type of panel for the most part. It's a liquid retina display, which is great. It's going to be giving you P3 wide color gamut, true tone display, and anti-reflective coating. So that kind of stuff is very nice within this type of display. And I will tell you from that particular side, you're definitely going to be able to get a really good type of experience from this type of device when it comes down to it from that side. So I will tell you this type of device in a lot of ways is probably still going to be holding up quite well. It's not going to be perfect, but I would imagine that if you're in the market and you're going to go through and pick up some sort of an iPad, this thing is still going to be giving you a pretty nice display as it kind of comes down to it. Now with something like the M5 iPad Pro, this one is going to be slightly different. This one is going to be substantially better in almost every single way. So with a device like this, what's basically going to end up happening here is that with an M5 iPad Pro, this one is going to be able to give you a very solid type of experience. It's the same sizes, they can, kind of spec out the same size, but you are getting two things. One, you're getting a nano texture display option if you get the 1TB and 2TB option, but you're also getting a ProMotion display inside of the M5 iPad Pro. That right there is going to be a very nice advantage for that type of device. Like if you're in the market and you're about to go through and pick up a phone, that is going to be a very nice feature and advantage that you have inside of that device in and of itself. So I would imagine that if you're in the market and you're going to go through and pick up a phone, that is going to be a very nice advantage. And that is going to be a very nice iPad when it comes down to it. Both are giving you USB Type-C ports at the bottom. The backside, you are getting these single camera setups. Although with the M3 iPad Air, you are getting no LiDAR sensor. With the M5 iPad Pro, you are getting that LiDAR sensor, which can be pretty nice for some people out there. So that can be another really nice thing depending on who you are for the most part. So when I look at the outside, I think both these iPads are great, but keep in mind there might be some better iPads out there that might make a little bit more sense to go ahead and buy. You don't have to go through and just buy these two. There's a lot of iPads in between that you can also go through and pick up as well. Now, one other thing to keep in mind here too is that if you are kind of going through and picking up these iPads, I do think, the Apple Pencil support is still nice, but that price tag is a very big thing. The M5 iPad Pro is going to cost you $1,000 basically. So that is a pretty expensive phone as it kind of comes down to it, right? Like if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, that right there is going to be a pretty big, difference in terms of that price tag. Whereas with something like an M3 iPad Air, this one's going to be slightly different. This one's going to be $599. So that right there is also going to be another pretty big difference. If you're going to go through and pick up a particular iPad, you're definitely going to be getting a much more different type of experience on that iPad. So it's a little bit more expensive, but it might be better for some people. And that's always going to be another one of those key things to keep in mind there as well. Now, on top of that, I think another really important aspect too is that with these types of devices, if you're going to go through and pick up an iPad, I would probably say that an M5 iPad Pro, this one is going to be giving you a very good type of camera setup. So this type of camera is going to be very solid for the most part. That one is basically going to be able to go through and give you a very solid experience. It's going to be a single, single camera on both of these, so it's not going to be anything crazy, but you are going to be getting that single 12 megapixel camera. You can do 4K video on both. You can do ProRes video on the M5 iPad Pro. So that right there could be an advantage depending on who you are. And like I said before, if you're going to go through and pick up a panel and pick up a phone, that is kind of a nice thing to basically be able to experience there inside of that type of device. So I would say for me personally, that right there is a very nice thing. Something like the M5 iPad Pro though, this one is going to be the nicer camera. It's giving you flash, it's giving you the LiDAR sensor. But the thing you're going to have to remember here is that, in my personal opinion, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense when you're looking at something like an M5 iPad Pro, right? To even pick this one up because of the camera, because with something like a iPad Air, like both these cameras are more similar than not. And when I look at something like an M5 iPad Pro, like your iPhone or Samsung camera is going to be way better than this thing. So I don't really see too many people using that type of camera for the most part. But I would still say that if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, you're still going to be able to get a good experience. But like I said before, an M5 iPad Pro camera is better than the M3 iPad Air, but it's not going to be anything crazy. Now, on top of that, I would say if you're going to go through and pick up another one of these types of iPads, the M5 iPad Air has a higher likelihood of lasting for a longer period of time. So if you're wanting the device that's going to be lasting for a longer period of time for the most part, then something like the M3 iPad Air is probably going to be the one for you. So I think that right there is another big thing. If you're trying to get the phone that is going to be lasting for a longer period of time, once again, the M3 iPad Air is probably going to be the one for you, right? That one's not going to last as long as the M5 iPad Air or the M5 iPad Pro. These numbers are so confusing to me. Finally, when it comes down to the performance, the M5 iPad Pro is giving you that M5 chipset. The M3 iPad Air is giving you that M3 chipset. So this is another one of those things. If you're trying to get the phone that is going to be giving you kind of a better type of experience here, something like the M3 iPad Air, it's going to be good and it's going to be very fast. But as I mentioned before, there's a much higher likelihood that an M5 iPad Pro is going to be so much faster. And with that ProMotion display, things just end up feeling a lot faster and end up feeling a lot smoother inside of that type of device. So that is always one of those things I always kind of think about, because once again, if you're trying to get the phone that is going to be the nicer, much better feeling one, that one is kind of the one that I would look at as probably being the overall better one for the most part. So if you're trying to get the faster iPad, then definitely something like an M5 iPad Pro, that's going to be faster. It's also going to be giving you more RAM over something like an M3 iPad Air as of this point. So kind of keep that in mind. I don't think it's anything super crazy, but like I said before, if you're looking at an iPad, then definitely that one's going to be a significantly faster iPad when it comes down to it. So to kind of sum it up, what I definitely will tell you is that with something like an M5 iPad Pro, this is going to be a much better type of iPad, right? That one's going to be giving you a really good type of experience. And that's the one that I look at as probably being, the best type of iPad here. I think the M3 iPad Air, this one is also a very good iPad too, right? This one is still very, very good. But if you are trying to go through and get the better one, it does kind of make more sense to go through and buy something like an M5 iPad Pro from a money standpoint. But you can also buy like an older iPad Pro. Like you can also go through and buy one of the last generation iPad Pros or even the one before that. And those are also still very good options as well. And those are still going to be really good types of iPads if you're trying to go through and pick up one as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.